Hey, it's my almost Friday talk. So to just repurpose a bit the philosophical Wednesdays. And today we'll talk about Anthropic in general. So, you know, we so dependent on the cloud code that I would even say that we heavily addicted to it. I will not comment on the mythos and all this too dangerous to release because it's remind me the ChatGPT 3. We have seen these marketing tricks already. So sorry, folks. No, I'm not buying it. About the Opus, actually, from one side, I'm not impressed. It's not the super big difference. That something super important happened. First of all, for the cloud code, you need to be aware that right now they changed the effort. So if you want effort high, you need to put it yourself, and it will fix majority of your problems. By the way, with all these comments that let's get more lazy. Also, you need to be more precise and include more focused files or even create the agents that have some particular focus on some files and all other things. And it worked much better. Yeah, so they try to sell some tokens. But what I want to talk, it's the latest opus and one tiny bit that are quite subjective actually. So maybe it's not true that all these prompts and model evaluations are more like thorough interpretation. So people notice something for them, it's working. They suggest you to form the prompt in some certain ways with no evidence and evaluation. But what I really like that the latest opus start pushing back. If you make the crap or you making the mistake, it's highlighted to you. And it's a big problem. I already shared once that our dopamine loop was changed because right now we not enjoying of the result of the work. We just reviewing the tons of the work that um, agents are doing for us. It's one big thing. Another big thing that I see more and more in internet that people searching all the day with the cloud code. Super smart guy, much smarter than you ever. Right, with all the knowledge in the world. And this guy told to you every 10 minutes that, oh, brilliant idea. Yeah, for sure. And you starting believe that you're also the genius. And we had so many crappy projects released by the people that was so inspired with the cheering up by the cloud code that it's super hard. And usually I try to ask how we could simplify. Could you criticize me? Or you are the reviewer, or the best trick. I don't know why it's working, but if you will say that this code will be reviewed by GPT Codex, then you get completely a different level of the criticism actually. So you could check it yourself. And we start believing to the lie of these complimentary compliments that the AI tool making to us. So we still should play the game of wearing the different hats, starting the different sessions, and switching from the builder mode to the reviewer mode to the critic mode to some prompts that you need to simplify this, explain to me how we could improve, suggest some improvements. It's a super good practice to ask to build the prompt for scoring and invent some metrics for your code and architecture, and then iterate couple of times based on these metrics and output. It's yet another working strategy, but we need to build the system that not just do the agentic engineering, but in the same time keep our sanity and not reward constantly our ego with all these compliments that we start believing that we are the genius, and what I noticed that the Opus 4.7, it's much better in highlighting your mistakes, and it's already the huge step forward. Maybe it's not about the logic of the LLM, but it's more about the personality trait of the agent itself. And I expected more. I don't know how to convince me to be even hard to myself, but I tried different prompts. But the main thing, the second one after the burnout of the review, it's the false belief that you are the genius. And it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem for different kind of people, not only the senior one, but especially the junior ones. And it's also create these high voltage people that quite far from engineering, that every second week say that code is done, everything is dead. Right now, we could build everything ourselves. And then we read about some crazy outages, security breaches, scalability issues, and all other things. Why we still getting money to our bank accounts? Because the engineering and coding, it's two different disciplines. That's why we have the title engineer, but not a coder. And by the way, long time ago, somewhere in 70s, it was the people that was responsible to type the code, uh, convert the code to the punch cards, and they was the coders, and the developers was the people who actually working on the engineering bit of it. So, and the pure coders died because actually nowadays your ID and autocomplete do the majority of this work. Because when I was the kid, how the programming was looking to me, that you write in a special copybook the program. You go to the girls or senior women's, and give them your program, and they convert it to the punch cards. And if you have not so good writing skills, and they replace some I with one or something like that, you have a problem. That's why it was so many tricks to write the program in a way that people could not misinterpret the writings, and that's why it was this crossed zeros and all other things, because you give your code to somebody else and somebody else enter it to the system and turn it to the punch cards. And my favorite game was to fail down the desk of the punch cards. They all have the numbers, but then they get mixed and you need to order them again. uh, yeah, and nowadays we have next iteration that we don't need the people who write this syntactically correct code. Actually, we don't need these people already for a couple of decades because we have the IDE. But right now, we need by engineers and the critical thinking, and the critical thinking with AI getting harder because you have super powerful guy that knows practically everything, and this super powerful guy say that you are amazing, and then the problem begins when you start believe that you are amazing, because you could have absolutely crappy horrible idea, and if you will ask him, okay, I have this idea, how we could do it differently, how other people already do it, could we simplify it heavily? Could you suggest me some improvements and suggestions how to do it better? It will be much better. I know that all the things are obvious, and practically every developer has his own workflow to switch on the internal critics, but the models still fine-tuned to make you happy. And we needs to do something with this happiness because it could ruin actually our lives. It's nice for I don't know the your ego feeling that you're so smart and AI confirm it. But it's make you making quite crappy decisions and provide you quite horrible results. And then I suggest to have the fleet of the agents, and some agents needs to be on these critic teams and reiterate on improvements. And one iteration is not enough. You could repeat it a couple of times. You could have different critiques and evaluation prompts. You could even use the different models. Why not? If it was made by Claude, maybe some other model could make the review and find some blind spots. For sure, but we definitely need to do the human validation with the critical thinking, and that's why the cross peer reviews of other teammates are still important engineering practice. And it's better not to say, okay, right now the review is done by yet another AI tool. I don't believe on it, but I understand the roots of it, because if Opus wrote the tons of the Rust code that even author haven't read, and right now you need to review it, maybe it's a bit too much. But if you delegate the review and critical thinking also to the agents, then I don't know if it's a good actually if it's a good solution. So we still need to find the balance where we use AI as a tool, because if we just blindly believe on all these compliments that you are the genius, then we probably have the huge problem. Just trust me.